Shalom and all that good stuff, y'all. It's your girl Jetty, the Rabble Rouser, Empress Jetty, the Rabble Rouser, hollering at you from Southern Belize, repping Word Revolution and the Shitashi Al Umma Nation. So we're on part number 3 of our Casting Down Idols series, guys, and this is actually going to be part 2 of Mammon. Because I need to tell you guys there's a way that some of you relate to Mammon that is also an idol, and I know that learning to do this. First of all, Father, bless my words, let me speak truth, what you would have me to say. But yeah, so you should check my YouTube channel and listen to my songs, man. I got some songs on there. They're rough. They were recorded just like on the computer and the phone, and they're real kind of like ratchet, technically, or technique-wise. I don't know, something wise. Yeah, I can't even say it, much less do it, okay? I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know what it's coming undone. I better start writing because in a while I'm just going to be sitting there quiet, and you guys are going to think that I just like got this like deep epiphany and I've got all wise and quiet. No, it's just going to be because I trip over my words so much it's just not even worth it anymore. So maybe that's how y'all's going to shut me up when it's time to shut me up. Anyway, check out my songs. The songs on YouTube represent 3 different albums that I'm currently working on. So you'll get 3 different kind of flavors. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that with Yaz One Entertainment. So questions and comments will come out first, and then Sabbath songs and War Cry, I don't know. So, excuse me, come out eventually, right? So listen to the songs, like, share if you like them or whatever. And I definitely am here for collabs. Some of you folks out there that like, whatever, do cool music stuff or even whatever. I'm here for collabs if you got ideas. So, Mammon. Alright, so the flip side of what we talked about the last time we talked about Mammon, right? In terms of how Mammon can be an idol, one way is by going after Mammon, right? But another way that you guys have accepted a false doctrine that's come out of the synagogue of Satan is this attachment that you all have to poverty. Okay? This notion that, and poverty is a spirit, right? And I know I'm going to step on a lot of people's toes right now with this that really, I'm not saying this to be mean to you, but this is going to hurt a lot of y'all feelings, but you're going to have to get over it and grow up, okay? So a lot of you display your poverty spirit through this action that you do. You deny yourself what you actually need so that you're like a self-sacrifice. You're always like nailing yourself to the cross, right? You're always denying yourself what you need. And that comes in a lot of forms. Like some of you are chronic underachievers, right? And some of you are completely burned out from running helter-skelter for other people. Things like that are evidence of a poverty spirit, right? Because the understanding of life abundance, abundance pours out from a full cup. Like the cup's full and then pours out, right? And so it's overflow is abundance, right? Abundance is not the cup doesn't have enough in it, but you're still like trying to get that out. That's lack. And so when you guys move in that way where you are not fill up and then give out, you are moving in poverty, and it's an idol because you do it and you tell yourself that it makes you a better person than a lot of people who don't do it, right? And you also do it with the expectation that people owe you now because look at what you've sacrificed for them. And I don't mean to say that people can just wantonly be poor stewards of your investment in them. I hold people accountable for my investment in them, and I will tell them I invested this and this and this because I expected this, not this, right? But it's different than this thing y'all do, and y'all know. Y'all listen. If you don't do this, you know that, but if you do, you do. No, you're doing this, and that is a spirit of poverty. This notion that that people aren't allowed to enjoy the fullness of life, right? So it's not just where you stay literally like financially poor, but you just fail to bloom. You fail to thrive, right? You never bloom. You have these things inside of you that you could give if you would be more authentic, right? And would not be trying to prove some point about what you've given up or what you don't have for yourself because you're so good that you don't have all these things, right? Like that is a spirit of, that's another way that you worship mammon, actually, because you're centralizing, and it's not necessarily, it's a way that you can worship mammon, but the way that I want you to understand it is that it also manifests in other ways outside of the concept of mammon, right? It also manifests in terms of favors, denying yourself self-care and then doing other people favors, right? That's the same as not that's the same as giving an irresponsible person that you know is not going to pay you back your light bill money, right? And your light gets shut off or gets backed up or something, and you now have a thing where you feel like you did this great thing for them and they've betrayed you, and now they owe you. And whether or not you process that with them, because a lot of you, I'm sorry, but a lot of us, I'm going to start saying a lot of us so that you guys don't think I'm like, because I know everybody thinks I'm like this mean, like, I don't know, lady, this mean dictator and all, which I just want to say, back in my day, okay, back in my day, we called people that ruled with absolute authority not dictators, but kings and queens. I mean, you know, there's such a thing as the divine right of kings and, you know, queens and things like that. So I don't mind that I speak with authority. I have it, so I use it, right? But I don't want y'all feeling like I'm all trying to be some mean lady. I'm trying to tell everybody what to do, right? So all that to say, these places where you now hold this thing that you've given up, right, as like a badge of honor, right, and a reason why other people are supposed to like have all this great regard for you, or why you're, you know, I don't know. But what I was going to say is a lot of us are cowards, and so you're not even having the conversation, which would change the whole dynamic. If you were having conversations with people where you're saying, listen, this is my last few, right? I don't know if I should give it to you. Is this one of them deals where you actually are going to be able to get it back? Or is this one of them deals like you're hoping that something will happen between now and then that you might get it back? Like, you're not having these kind of authentic conversations, and then when they don't get it back, you're like, oh, it's okay, honey, I understand. But in your heart, you're like, you know, having a thing, right? And feeling a thing. And then you talk about it like, I don't know. And you're not like authentically processing it, because you're moving out of a deficit already, because you should have handled self-care first, right? And this is a side note. Self-care first is like, it's just a concept where, like, here's why it exists as a natural law, right? Now, the spiritual law is kind of the opposite of it, but it's not the opposite of it, because, as I said, you're moving out of abundance in the spirit, so it doesn't, we're not going to get into that, take us somewhere else. But the reason that self-care first is a natural law is because you can do more for the rest of your group, whether that group is a pack or a school or a tribe or whatever. Each individual can be the best asset to the group in their best form. So your first responsibility is to make sure that you are in your best form, so that when you contribute, you are the greatest contributor that you are possibly able to be. Okay? So when we flip it and we say we're going to neglect self-care for these other things, it's backwards, because you're going to be an ever less competent or capable or impactful member, because you're going to have less and less and less and left to give from, right? And so the universal equation is built on abundance, right? And it's really funny because it's this dance between like division and multiplication and division and multiplication. And if you want to know what I mean by that, like think of this. When two people come together, right? Their two essences come together, and so it turns into one thing, right? But that one thing has to constantly divide in order to multiply, right? So it's a cell, and now it must divide, but that division is a multiplication, right? And so we have to think of that dance between multiplication causes division causes multiplication. It's like a cool thing. But anyway, so we are built into the fruit bearing side of creation, right? We're the be fruitful and multiply team, right? We're team like it grows bigger, 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 better, 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 right? And so when you're operating in ways that don't, it's a curse, right? It's a curse. Poverty is a curse. Oh, and here's something for you guys. So there's the testimony of like the life and death of Joseph, Yeshua's stepfather. And I'm just going to hit a couple of key points for you guys since we're talking about poverty. At the time of Joseph's, and where are we, 12 minutes? Okay, I'm just going to hit the key points in the whole story because it's a really beautiful story. Okay, so when Yeshua was a baby and they were in Bethlehem, he was like a year old or so, and they were living in Bethlehem, Joseph made a prayer because he had seen like a lot of death, and he was contemplating death, and he was thinking of like how like kind of horrific that final like moment is, like when the angel of death comes for you. Like it's not cool. Like he didn't, like right? So he had this moment where he's contemplating death, and he made a prayer to the Most High that when I have to go, please don't let the angel of death come for me. Let Michael and Jabril, and I don't know I forget who the third one, but there's a third archangel that he was like, when it's my time to go, if you can, would you do me this solid and let them come and deliver me to you? I don't want to do none of the stages. I don't want to do this, because there's all this stuff you go through, right? It's not just like you die and poof, judgment day. There's like stuff that happens, right? So he's like, I don't want to do none of that stuff with the angel of death. He's like, I need your archangels to please, if you can, escort me. Right? And so Yeshua tells that story, and then he tells the story of Mary and Joseph was awesome, and Mary was a virgin all her life, and she was really young when she came to Joseph, and little oh gosh, who was his little brother's name? James. Little James was 2 when Mary came on the scene, so she was known as Mary, the mother of James, because he took to her right away. They took to each other right away. And Joseph was never there. And so so Yeshua kind of tells the story. It's like a fond story. And then when Joseph was dying, it was very agonizing for him, and he was like cursing his body parts, right? I cursed my eyes for enjoying, folly. I cursed my lips for speaking lies and spreading rumors, and I cursed my ears. Oh my God, all the things I delighted in that I listened to that were not pleasing to you. And he was like, having that final repentance, I think, moment, and it was sad for Yeshua, right? Yeshua was like all sad about it, and he was crying. He was crying and stuff. He's like, oh, this sucks. Death sucks, right? And so he called the angels when it was time. He called the angels to come, and the angels came. Yah sent the angels to the ones that Joseph had requested when Yeshua was a baby. He sent them to come and get him, and so they came and took Joseph's soul. And then Yeshua called some other angels, and they wrapped him in this heavenly cloth, which instantly turned hard like gold. And so his body never got washed or anything like that, because this when they came in to get the body and it was already wrapped, they were like, oh, this is strange, it's already wrapped, but what is this it's wrapped in? And they couldn't unwrap it. And Yeshua said that it was it turned hard like gold. And so he was buried in that. But then what's cool, which is the whole point of this story, is that Yeshua spoke a blessing. First of all, we're supposed to celebrate the life of Joseph on the day of his death, which I do forget when that was. But every year we're supposed to have a beautiful celebration. And very specifically, the celebration, we're supposed to, because he was a very good man. He was a good man. Yeshua stressed that he was a good man. He was a good, beautiful, spiritual man. And so, in his honor, Yeshua spoke this blessing. And the blessing was like twofold, right? The blessing was that, well, kind of threefold, really. It's three parts to it. So one is that you're every year supposed to have a like St. Joseph Day, and where you have a big feast and you have wine, but you're supposed to especially make sure that the poor feast and have wine, right? So it's a merry feast. Wine is like part of it, okay? I don't know what y'all church people, I don't know what to tell y'all church people, okay? Team Yeshua, Team Hebrews, Team Israelites, we do wine, okay? So Yeshua said we're supposed to make sure that the poor people can feast and drink plenty wine so they can be merry, right? And we're supposed to feast too. And if you're poor and you can't like forward the blessing to someone poorer than you, if you will name a son in your lineage, and I don't know if it was the first son, I think it's just a son, but I should double check at some point. But if you will name a son Joseph, it will break poverty from your family. It will break the curse of poverty off your family. And from then on, no one will suffer poverty or sudden death or I think it's like debilitating illness or something. I think the third one is. And so that's just something really cool, right? I just thought that was really beautiful. But think of that, right? Like, the idea is that there's you always have an abundance. Like when you're called to give, you're called to give out of an abundance. Not that Yah doesn't appreciate sacrifice, right? But not self-sacrifice in this weird way that they have taught you to cling to failure to thrive. Poverty, right? Poverty and failure to thrive is not a badge of honor. There's no good reason for it. I don't want to hear about slavery. I don't want to hear about prison. I don't want to hear about being framed. I don't want to hear about anything. I don't want to hear about your family drama, because my friend, ancestor Joseph showed us all how it's done. Okay? You should thrive in every environment that you are in. You should be multiplying. Boom, 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 boom. And as you multiply whatever it is your hands are on, this should be boom, boom, boom. Right? These are levels up, levels up, levels up, levels up, levels up, levels up. Right? We're ascending. We're going up, guys. You can't go up with the stuff that brings you down, right? So a lot of you serve mammon in this weird way that you celebrate poverty, in the weird way that you despise people when they get a blessing, or you despise people who do those little things for themselves that matter. I don't care if it's, here's what I don't care if it is. I don't care if it's weave down to their booty with leaving hairs in your car, okay? That you somewhere sitting and thinking she done paid way too much money for that weave or whatever. If the sister ain't not feeding kids for the weave, why are you hating? She paid all that money for the weave. I could have did it. And I am definitely like, listen, I am the most bargain thrift store, Goodwill, Salvation Army, yard sale, free bin, church sale girl, okay, from way back when. But I've never been a hater, okay? We're not the haters. The haters, that hater spirit shows you that you really do worship mammon and you're jealous. You're jealous when people get a new car. You're jealous when people actually go ahead and splurge and redo their bedroom. You're jealous when people move to that place they've always wanted to go to, or vacation. Some of you are so mad that other people vacation like twice a year. I'm going to tell y'all, I used to say, right, and I need to remind my husband of this so we can get this thing going. I used to say that a grown-up needs 4 vacations a year. You need one with the homies, you need one by yourself, you need one with your spouse, and you need one with the family. You need at least 4 vacations a year. Now, they ain't got to be 10-week, 2-week, or 10-day, 2-week vacations. They could be like little weekends, right, or something like that. But you need that, like, that's important. All of those things are important. And then if you got kids, you're going to have to, like, start, if you got more than one kid, you might have to even increase the amount of vacations, because each child might need that with you. And you might need that with each child. At least once a year, you and each kid take a vacation. So you and the homies, you and the spouse, you by yourself, you and them kids. That's 6 vacations you should go on if you were in a position to give yourself and your relationships the proper care. So when people are out there, now people ain't necessarily doing that, but when people don't play about vacation, they go on vacation, okay? They cute on vacation. They eat lobsters, okay? Not that we're supposed to be eating lobsters, Zion. But look, you know, it is what it is, right? They eating steaks. They sharp. Everybody got on new stuff. Everything new. Toothbrush new. Drawers new. You mad. That's because you worship mammon. Because you are seeing dollar signs and money, and you don't see this person giving themselves self-care and living in their best and fullest life. You can't even celebrate their best, fullest life because you're too busy hating on the fact that why she always gotta wear, I don't even know what brands are out there, y'all. What's the new hot brands, you know? I don't know. It used to be Gucci and them, right? Because she always got Gucci, or because she always got whatever they always got. What do you care? What do you care? You guys aren't in that place where you're denying materialism. And a lot of you think that just because you're poor, you're not materialistic. Stop lying. Stop lying to yourselves. You are materialistic. You just don't have the confidence, right? You don't have the confidence to go after it like you want it. Because I'm going to tell you something that doesn't happen, guys. And people always try to say, you don't know what I'm thinking. But you can definitely know what people are thinking. Listen to me. No one that has what they want is ever mad when they see somebody else get what they want. Nobody. If you don't want what somebody else has, you have zero negative emotion attached to them getting it. Zero negative emotion. So if you're running around having negative emotions to other people's come-ups, it's because you serve mammon poorly. But guess what? How well you serve him doesn't matter. You still serve him. So that might have been a little confusing for some of you, but you know, I don't know, guys. I'm trying to make it plain. I know I tell like I know I went a lot of places, so maybe it was hard to, I don't know, follow, but we must do better. You have to be the kind of person that could walk, right? Where a lot of people would be like, oh my God, I wouldn't walk. If I've got to get there, I would walk. But you've also got to be the kind of person that could just as easily own a private jet and take your private jet. You've got to hold those things completely circumstantially. You have to just understand that those kinds of conditions are circumstantial to your purpose. Sometimes you have to walk because there's other people walking that you need to meet. Sometimes you have to take a private jet because you don't need to see anybody. Or it just makes more sense. Some of y'all hate on things that just make more sense because of how it makes somebody else look like a come up. Like, for instance, you got somebody that buys a new car. It makes sense. Their old car, they was steady of fixing it. Okay? They was fixing it, that car, spending more money trying to keep an old car on the road than a car note. So they done figured that out and went and got themselves a little car. Now they did that because it made sense. And they just as tickled with their little car. And you somewhere mad. Can't need no new car. That other car was running that thing. Girl, I wouldn't want to have no car note. See, that thing's too central to you. That thing's too central to you. It means too much to you. Who got what? Who got what? It's covetousness. It's not your business. If you can't celebrate the win, they must not be your people. You must not be their people. Right? But don't think that just because you running around being all stingy to yourself to try to prove that you're better than people that's winning and got all the stuff that they like and want. Don't you think that you serve mammon any less than them. And don't be trying to think that just because they got it, that they serve mammon and you're better than them because you don't got it. No, because it's not about that. It's still about that to you. Do you still think that that's what it's about? It's just not. So there you go. Anyway, it's your girl Empress Jetty, the Rabble Rouser. And I reckon with that, guys, we are under 30 minutes. I'm out. I'm going to maybe I'll do a couple more. It's midnight for me, but I don't know. I'm strangely energized. What's going on here with this moon and stuff, right? Anyway. Y'all rain's here, y'all. You don't know what it is. Oh, and I do keep forgetting this. Listen, guys, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. If you don't come to me, if you don't leave the country, get away from the cities, get away from densely populated areas, get to where trees outnumber people, and start liquidating your assets that are not going to be usable in end time, aka apocalyptic / post or pre-apocalyptic state, and buy things that would matter if it all crashed. Okay, so anyway, I'm out, y'all. Y'all be blessed.